Welcome, comic lovers. Let's have a comic chat about why I collect comics. This is the announcement video, so there will be an announcement coming up in the end, but I'm going to start with why I collect comics. I'm going to take us back to early 80s. My family and I were making a transition to the Midwest, and through the process, things ended up really going south, and we ended up struggling, really struggling, for about 18 months. And during that time, near the end of that time, we were in, I think, Tennessee. Genuinely, borders of states really kind of blur when you're just kind of living and surviving. And I had brought some game into a KOA store where he processed meat, and he had like stuff in his store, and he did process game and would sell it. And we had some game, and we were going to keep some, but we didn't want all of it, and we needed some vegetables and fruits, other things, right? So that we couldn't get out there. And so took the meat back to process it, and while he was doing that, I basically camped out on the floor. I sat down and in front of the magazines, where I saw this. All-Star Squadron number 23. It is the first appearance of Amazing Man. I didn't know it was the first appearance of Amazing Man. No idea. Genuinely, the only one on this cover that I recognized was Hawkman. And I'd seen him on like 70s Saturday morning TV, right? I didn't know any of the other people. I think I was, I don't know, would be going to high school in that fall. If we'd have been going to school. This was pretty cool. They had this, and so back in that time, there weren't comic shops like most people go to today to get their comics. Comics were in convenience stores. They were in grocery stores, newsstands, right? And most places could send them back. That's kind of what people forget, is that the newsstands would get sent back as the next months or 2 months. I think they kept them out for like 3 months or so. Anyway, so I saw that. Wonderful Roy Thomas, Jerry Ordway. The All-Star Squadron really was Roy Thomas's baby of Golden Age characters, and I fell in love with comics. They also had number 24. This is a tarantula origin story. The tarantula, again, Batman was the only person on this cover I knew who they were. Then issue 25. This is the first appearance of Infinity Inc. This is considered a key. There was nobody I knew on this cover, but I thought, man, this looks so cool, so bright and vibrant. And Jerry Ordway was with All-Star Squadron for the beginning half of it. He was either an inker or the penciler or whatever, but he was involved from the get-go. And Roy Thomas, of course, this was his baby all the way through it. Either him or him and his wife Dan wrote most of the stories. And then they had issue 26, again with Infinity Inc. And they had Robin. I knew who he was. Again, didn't know who these were. And so they were sitting on the shelf. Kind of see if I can get this in that look. I remember it pretty well. It was a pretty turning point in my life. So they were sitting there like this, which is probably how they kept them. So you'd see the oldest, newest, all the way up. And then this one was pulled out and set up front. And I don't know if they had sold out. They didn't have very many. It isn't like they had 4 of these on the counter. They had one. Most of these, they only had one sitting on the counter, or on the the racking. But I read through these while the guy was processing the meat. He came back, told me how much meat he was going to take, how much meat we were going to get, and what I could get in trade. And I genuinely put all these back and went to look for the vegetables that we needed, fruits, those things that we needed that wouldn't go bad, as we moved around, traveled, went where the game was, to keep ourselves fed, right? So, and that could sit in the back of the truck and be safe from rot and everything. So that's what I did. And the guy, and I don't even remember his name, but a wonderful guy, and he had seen me looking at these, and as I had the stuff to go, he said, "Did you want them?" And I said, "I don't have, I'd rather have the food." And he said, "No, they're yours. Go ahead and take them." And I don't know, maybe he thought, I was pretty dirty. I was a scraggly looking guy at the time. We were barely getting by. So I don't know if he thought, I touched them, they're not going to be good, or if he just thought this kid needs a break. I don't know, but he gave them to me. I basically gathered them together, folded them in half, put them in my back pocket, and left. And through the next few months, I read them over and over again, over and over. And the escapism that these books provided me, the hope and the better life, knowing there's a better life, that things would get better, really carried me through. And so sometimes I say, Roy Thomas and the All-Star Squadron saved my life. Reality is that they did. They provided escapism, and probably helped me cope with a lot of issues at the time. Anyway, fast forward another year, things have changed. We're back on our feet. We've moved back to Arizona, to Phoenix, and I'm in high school, working, so I have money. I decide, I wonder if there's a comic shop I could find some of these more comics. I'm still reading them. They're still bringing me hope. And so I went to, there was only a couple shops here in the valley at the time. Stalking Moon Comics was one of them, up off of Glendale and 55th Avenue. 59th, the other side of 59th. So what would that be? 61st Avenue, something like that. It was right by the Glendale High School. I didn't go to Glendale High, but I, was like, oh, how cool is that? So I rode my bike up there, got some comics, and continued to collect All-Star Squadron. In fact, I ended up getting all of them, 67 issues, and then 3 annuals, so a total of 70 issues. And then I just started buying these every time I found them. So anywhere I find these, I would buy them up. From most of the local shops, I bought almost all of these. There's probably a few floating around at some local shops, but I genuinely tend to pick them up everywhere in the Phoenix metro area because I love these. But I don't just keep them. I want to be clear, like, I give these out. I've sold collections where it's a complete set, not on the internet necessarily, but to somebody I know wants to read it. I know that this may foster and grow their love of comics. That's why I do it, because I want people in the hobby. And if we don't want people in the hobby, we're making a big mistake. This is something that we've loved, this escapism, and we need to share it with as many people as possible. I'd like you to share with me in the comment section what brought you to collecting comics. What was it? What book, series, author, artist, what brought you to comic collecting? Please share that in the comments below. The big announcement is that I'm going to have an opportunity to give away a set of these to my grandson. I'm going to be a grandpa. My daughter and her husband are having a little boy, and so in a few months, well, actually, I guess it's about 6 months now. But I'm going to be a grandpa, and it's so wonderful. And I'm going to pass along a set of these, the whole series, so all 70 issues, to my grandson when he's old enough to read them and understand. And hopefully, I can foster the love of comics and comic collecting with them. And of course, I will then, as the grandpa, have to do that for every grandchild I have. So I'm continually on the lookout for these All-Star Squadrons, and we'll find more. Again, if you've watched some of my videos, you know I grab them all the time. Anywhere I'm at, these are my go-to series. It's actually the first series I look for when I go in a new shop. Do they have any? How much? And I just buy them all. So again, if you haven't already, like and subscribe the video, and then leave a comment below that says why you like comics, why you collect, what brought you to this crazy mixed up habit that we have of comic collecting. And the big announcement, I'm going to be a grandpa, and I'm going to give a whole set of these to my grandson. Again, have a wonderful day.